Hello, everyone, and welcome to my very first Black dating trends. I intend to do this either every quarter or every half year mark, or either just every year annually. But I always make these predictions and keep them to myself. And I hate to say predictions, it's not really a prediction type thing, it's just a survey of what I've been observing as a dating and relationship uh, coach, therapist, some say expert. It's the things that I've been observing, and that you can kind of put together that this is what I kind of see coming in Black dating. So, um, to that end, my name is Tracy Reddy. For the past over 10 years, I have been working exclusively with singles, particularly Black, mostly Black singles, helping them navigate the dating world, single life, and particularly single Black women of faith, helping them prepare themselves for love. So if that's you and you're interested in that service, you can come see me at souldetox.net. Now, for the rest of y'all and for everybody, let's dive right into this. We're going to go over a couple of things. I want to talk about some of the things I've seen declines in, that I think we will continue to see decline, things that will increase, and then some specific um, things that each group generationally can expect with Black dating. All right, let's dive on into this stuff. Okay, number one, there's going to be a decline. There's going to be a decline in a few things. Number one, gender wars. From what I've been observing, and you got to know that this is not just me being some sort of social media influencer, that I am not. You can look at my number of followers and see that that's not the case. But what I do is I thoroughly talk to people both on and offline, and um, I really hear the real story. You may see what has been curated by content creators and think that that's what's on the horizon, but it's not. I have talked to real people, and here's what I'm saying. I'm seeing a decline in gender wars, red and pink pill rhetoric, and unwanted pregnancies. Now, let's start at the beginning. Gender wars. For so long, the middle population, the Gen X, Gen Y, millennials, and Gen X, have been at each other's throats. The men against the women, the women trying to be heard, the men trying to be heard. You've seen um, content creators rise out of that, who have kind of bought into this gender war, and created content that gave each side a personal corner to go to and express their disdain with the other, with opposite gender, and just let them have it. Okay. And I'm seeing a decline in that. I'm actually seeing a decline in that as these pink and red pill people start to crumble. Um, because their own relational issues, their own um, a lot of the things that they do is causing them to crumble, but also they're crumbling because men and women are starting to get wise and say and see, oh, wait a minute, I've been following this person for 3, 4, 5, 10 years. I've been a-manning everything that they say because it's how I feel. But I'm getting more lonely, more depressed, more over here to myself. Do I want a relationship? I do, but there is no clear and healthy, sustainable way out of the pink and red pill mindset except just to abandon it. And so I'm seeing people starting to abandon it in exchange for relationships, or communities where that's not the storyline. And we'll talk more about that in just a second. And then unwanted pregnancies. If you look at the data right now, um, honey, people are realizing this is not across the board. You might say, because my cousin just had her third baby. No, no, no. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about overall people who fit into the categories that I'm speaking of: educated Black people, etc. We're seeing a decline in unwanted pregnancies because people the reasons range from the medical um, disparities that come with Black women in maternal care, um, and how that is a risk. It's almost risky. And then we're seeing it also with people just taking inventory of how much it costs to raise a child. So, with all that being said, people are just being more careful. A lot of people, a lot more people than you think. Mind you, I'm talking about conversations I'm having offline, out of the public's eye. More people than you think are practicing abstinence, celibacy, and are just waiting for the right person or waiting for marriage. So this is a decrease. This will cause a decrease in unwanted pregnancies. So it just is what it is. I'm just telling you what I see. Okay. That being said, increases in relationship and marriage affirming communities. That's what I was alluding to earlier. People are leaving the divisive communities, red pill and all that, and they're embracing communities where marriage and relationship are affirmed, are celebrated. And so I strongly encourage you to do the same. If you do in fact want to be married, you should be looking for these communities. They're out there. They're out there. They're out there both online and offline. And it might just be you might have it in your own backyard with your own church or whatever. But that is where things are trending. People are looking for places that reflect not where they are right now, but where they want to go. We're going to see an increase in people getting not just therapy. We've been seeing an increase in therapy for the past 5, 6, 7 years, but this increase in coaching. See, therapy will help you deal with what happened in the past. Coaching will help you push forward to the thing that you want and the how to's of that, the nuts and bolts of that. Many of us have over the years just kind of said, well, when the right person comes, they'll come, it'll work out, everything will be okay. But a lot of people are getting a lot more strategic and saying, you know what, no, I need help. I clearly don't know what I'm doing, or I clearly don't have the confidence, or clearly I keep repeating the same patterns. So I'm going to invest in some sort of help in getting me there. And I've seen an uptick in people talking about that very thing. And then we're going to see an increase, which follows right in line with these two, in intentional connection, meaning that um, people aren't just entertaining anything and everything that comes their way. They are being very intentional and strategic about who they spend their time with and how they spend their time. Um, to me, it is the 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 cousin of cancel culture, but it's the good cousin. See, cancel culture is the evil twin. Intentional connection is the righteous twin, because people are being very selective and very intentional about where they're going to be, how they're going to show up in those spaces, and who they want to be there with them. And so, whether there be friendships, whether it's um, dating, whatever, people are being more discerning about who they want to connect with. And so, as we see these things increase, we can expect to see some specific things with some specific communities, and we're going to dive into that now. I call this section "Mark My Words," because through the years I have made, like, just amongst my friends or just in my own diary or whatever, I've seen things that I'm like, I bet that's going to turn into that, you know, and it has. And so I have some things to share with each of these groups. Number one, I want to talk to Gen Z. They are redefining marriage on their own terms. Instead of inheriting scripts from previous generations, they're building relationships around emotional safety, shared values, and longevity. They were raised, you got to remember, these kids or young people were raised during the mental health revolution, while us older folks were just now getting into, okay, we should get therapists, we should remove the stigma around therapy. These kids were born into that already happening. And so they prioritize boundaries and communication and self-awareness, um, as they are getting fatigued with the apps. They don't want to just, you know, find superficial connections. They will opt for fewer relationships, but with deeper commitment. When they commit, they're more likely to commit long term and with intentionality because they, from all this emotional awareness and healing and everything that they've done, they realize that intentionality. They realize that coming across genuine people is a rarity and it's an asset, and so they want to make it last. These can be marked by movies that they've enjoyed, such as shows. Forever Love is kind of talking about young love, what it could look like, all the possibility, and making genuine connections that they want to last. Furthermore, moving on to ages 29 and 54, that's a mix of Gen X and Gen Y, which is the millennials. Um, they're going to the men of this era are going to heavily invest in relationship readiness. In 2026, more Gen X and millennial men will actively pursue relationship readiness through coaching, mentorship, podcasts, and community. As traditional dating scripts collapse, such as the red pill and all that, men are seeking structure, accountability, and environments that support real growth. And so rather than the traditional just casual dating, men will be men, sowing wild oats, that kind of thing, many will focus on building relational skills, emotional maturity, and legacy minded commitments and marriages that they can be proud of. Um, as men become a little more disenchanted with the gender war and all those types of things, they will become more invested in, okay, so that was cool. I got to vet, I got, yes, my point of view, my emotional health was acknowledged, how I've been feeling, and they've been able to say that's all been acknowledged. But now they're going to be seeking out spaces and help with, okay, now what can make it work? Because I see this person over here making it work, and that person over there making it work. And with the rise of more men, marriage-minded men, or men who are happily and healthily married, with the rise of those podcasts and those types of shows, more men are going to kind of start leaning into that as they heal and grow emotionally and mentally. So we can expect to see that. And some examples of that is the show called Johnson, where these four guys, they all went to school together. They're not related, but all their last name were Johnson. So they kind of claimed each other as brothers, and they're navigating this very space, being a younger Gen X or older millennial, and really navigating what love and relationships and everything, friendship, etc., look like as emotionally well people, emotionally aware people. And then you're going to see podcasts like Jason O. Wilson's coming to more fame and notoriety as he, talks to men, not talks at them, and helps them grow in the spaces of relational maturity and relational health, and really start to see some of those blind spots. So we're going to see a rise in that. All right, single women, now y'all my people. My heart is for you, okay? Ages 29 to 54, single women will revisit relationship strategy and goals. After achieving stability in their career and education and independence, many Gen X and older millennials um, will reassess their relationship goals. They've had everything from disillusionment with dating culture, and just heartbreaks and disappointments, and it will push some of them, as they do this reassessment, it's going to push some of them to just say, you know what, forget it, I'm doing singleness, that's my speed, that's what I want, I don't want to be bothered. Others will seek structured, intentional pathways forward. So again, that whole idea of strategic dating, strategic placement. Expect to see increased interest in relationship readiness coaching, curated environments and experiences that offer exposure to emotionally available, growth minded men rather than endless trial and error dating. So we're going to see dating with intention to not just mean, oh, I'm looking for my husband. It's going to start to mean, I am examining myself. I am seeing what comes up as I'm sitting across from this man or that man. I am being more intentional, the spaces that I put myself in, how I show up in those spaces. I've been seeing an increase of women um, talking about these, what is it, hypergamy women talking about, where to put yourself to be in the proximity of more uh, affluent men and all that kind of thing. Um, and I think a lot of single women are going to actually try that. They're going to put themselves in spaces where men who are well established are and where they hang, and try to get into those spaces and see. But what I think a lot of them will find is they're going to begin to see themselves in a different way. We'll talk about that on the next slide. But anyway, some shows that really kind of highlight this, where women are starting to revisit, okay, what do I really want? How do I want this to turn out? What do I really want is Reasonable Doubt and Harlem. Both of these are shows that show women kind of navigating what love and dating is going to look like in their modern day. And then finally, for our boomers and our older Gen Xers, they're going to be reconsidering love. Boomers and older Gen X adults will cautiously reopen themselves to love following retirement, divorce, or the loss of a relationship, loss of a significant other. Rather than fast paced dating, many will explore connections through trusted communities like church, hobby groups, or social circles. With the rise of shows and platforms highlighting later in life dating, more older adults will redefine companionship on their own terms and allow themselves the possibility of love again. Shows like The Golden Bachelor and Later Daters is giving them a kind of a okay, let me see. And it's not this kind of secret, ew, grandma's dating, oh, grandpa, oh my gosh, it's ridiculous. It is more, they're looking at it as like, okay, I may, especially with people being healthier longer, they're looking at it like, okay, I'm a healthy, vibrant 60-year old. I'm out here. I'm out here looking for love, and I intend to find it. And so we can see an uptick of that. Now, what I do want to do is give you guys some warnings as each of these groups begin to uh, go forth and pursue all these, pursue love in different ways and all the things. I just want to give some specific warnings to each one. Gen Z, who continues to redefine love and marriage, um, that is a freedom that will be one of your greatest strengths. How you are kind of just making your own rules up, it can be a very great strength. However, don't don't make the mistake of discarding wisdom along with uh, uh, don't make the mistake of throwing away the wisdom and the outdated traditions. You might say, oh, we don't do XYZ anymore, but don't lose what they did do that was right. Older generations didn't get everything right, but they didn't get everything wrong either. So there's no need to reinvent the wheel. There is value in studying both what worked and what failed, and more importantly, why, so you don't repeat unnecessary mistakes. Innovation without the memory of the past often leads to avoidable mistakes. The most resilient relationships will come from blending fresh vision with hard earned lessons. So don't just get into the mind space, oh, they just old, they don't know nothing. We all did that at one point, okay? And we all kind of said, okay, well, we had to at some point circle back around and say, you know what, oh my gosh, they weren't crazy as I thought, So that's something to consider. Gen X and millennial men, as emotional maturity increases, expect a quiet internal shift. I know you guys are big on loyalty to your friends and all that kind of thing, but old identities built around ego and dominance and alpha narratives will start to feel hollow and shallow. Not because you're becoming weaker, but because you're becoming more grounded. All that machoism and all that is usually rooted in a lack of identity and a lack of stability. You need something to attach to, and so you do that. So you may find yourself less drawn to spaces that reward performance and more drawn to communities that reflect the man you are becoming and the goals you have now. Um, that change can at first feel disorienting because it's like, dang, I don't really want to hang with my boys like that, the ones who do this and that I'm moving away from. So it can be a little disenchanting, disorienting at first, but don't resist it. Growth often requires leaving familiar rooms for healthier ones. So you will find your tribe, and you will probably be that beacon of light amongst your current friends as you continue to grow and expand and all the things. So you don't have to pound your chest. I'm alpha. I'm the head one, and you can just become this version of this man who is legacy minded and all the things. And you won't have to announce that you're here. People will see you there and aspire to be like you. Now, Gen X and Millennial women, as you reevaluate what you truly want in love and in life, the most important question won't be what you choose or who you choose, but from where you choose it. Decisions made from abundance look very different than decisions made from scarcity. Choices rooted in emotional regulation lead to peace. Choices rooted in unresolved pain lead to regret. And that can show up on either side, ladies. This is not a case for you to stay single or to pursue love. It's not a case for either one. What I am begging you to do, remember, y'all are my people. Y'all are who I serve. What I am begging you to do is to get, before you make a decision whether you want to pursue love or not, get into a space to get your emotions regulated. Get into a space to deal with your mental health, okay? And then make that choice. Because if all your choice is based on all the bad heartache and headache you saw growing up and all that stuff, then you need to go deal with that in therapy. If all your choices is all if this choice that you make is based on all the things that you've seen in your own experiences, and just you're like, I'm tired, I'm fed up, I don't want to be bothered no more. Look, I'm just gonna sit over here, enjoy my nice cushy life that I've created. Okay, if either of those decisions is rooted in, if any of your decisions, I'm sorry, is rooted in just old information, you need to go cleanse all that first. First in therapy, which many of you have done, and then in coaching. You need some sort of coaching that's specifically geared toward your emotional health. Therapy is for your mental health. Emotional health is a separate entity. And I'll tell you a little bit more about that in just a second. But when you make choices rooted in pain, it often leads to regret. That is, even if you say, you know what, pain, pain, pain. Okay, but I want love, and you don't do any kind of mental and emotional wellness work. Regret can come from that, because you're going to regret the person you chose out of your pain. If you say, "Hey, I don't want to be bothered. I don't want anybody in my life," you're going to eventually, and this it's all rooted in pain. You're going to regret that, because you're going to say, "What could have happened had I had somebody?" All these what ifs, question marks, question marks. It feels great in the moment, but in the long term, it leads to regret. And so I don't want you living in regret. That regret doesn't always show up publicly either. So sometimes you choose a way of life and then you privately regret it, because you did such a big to do about, I'm gonna find me somebody, or ooh, I'm just gonna stay by myself. You made such a big show out of it. Now you don't want to admit that, hey, I'm discontent. I don't like the choice I made. So, and you don't really have anybody to talk about it with. So get emotionally and mentally well first, then choose if you want love or not. All right, clarity now prevents grief later. Now, as for you boomers and older Gen Xers, as dating later in life becomes more common, discernment becomes an absolute non negotiable. Scams are real, emotional manipulation is real, and financial boundaries, you got to be firm with those. Dating in isolation is no longer wise, and that's really for everybody involved. You need to be dating in community. The more trusted eyes and ears you have on your connections, the safer you will be. While others can't choose for you, they can often see what you're too close to see. What proximity hides. You're enjoying this person, you're liking this person, and you're not seeing you're getting scammed the whole time. You need to have people in your life that can see for you. Allow younger relatives and trusted community members to help you navigate modern dating landscapes, because wisdom definitely flows both ways. Now, I am deeply concerned, okay, about the top two sets of people right here, these age 29 to 54 men and women. I'm concerned about you guys because I feel that you can easily miss one another if you're not careful. You've been at war, the gender war with each other for so long. As you now seek out a healthier way of pursuing relationships, it'll be a little awkward being in one another's presence, not fighting, not bickering, not name calling, not finger pointing. Um, it'll be odd. It'll be odd to be in each other's spaces, but it's not impossible. Um, you don't have to, because as you continue to heal, especially not just the therapy side, but when you really get into that emotional healing and really remove those triggers that have previously kind of guided how you dealt with the opposite sex, um, you're going to be moved by empathy. And you're not going to be triggered by the other person sharing their story. You're not going to be triggered by a man saying, oh, his heart got broken, he got let down. And you say, well, you should have chose better, or vice versa. If a woman's sharing, her struggles or whatever, as a single mom or whatever, you're like, well, you didn't want the nice guy. You won't be moved to say those things because you don't have, got weapons out. You just got ears open, so you're going to be moved by empathy. Let that happen. Let the snide, sharp, condescending remarks be replaced with empathy, understanding, asking questions, curiosity about what the other side has gone through. um it might seem forced at first, but as you continue to heal your emotions, not just your mental health but your emotions, it's going to become natural, because as those triggers start being removed, you're naturally just not going to want to be attacking the other people, the other side. So, other than that, I'm, that's my primary concern for you two. The other two groups, they're going to be in community with opposite sex already, the Gen Z and the boomers and stuff. But those of us in the middle, we got a little work to do because we are kind of in our separate corners in a lot of instances. And um, coming back together will require some effort and some mentorship and some coaching. So there's that. Now, I just want to tell you guys a little bit about who I am very briefly. Tracy Reddy. I am a trained therapist. That is what my master's degree is in marriage and family therapy. I took an untraditional route, as opposed to going the traditional, therapist route and private practice and all that. I decided that I wanted to be more proactive in helping individuals. Instead of having couples fix their marriages, I want to help individuals prepare for theirs so they won't have as much of a need for marriage therapy. So I took on I entered the space of relationship readiness and became a mentor and a coach primarily to single Christian women, helping them to not just pray for the life they want, but to become the person who can handle it. So if you're that woman in that middle ground space, you're between that 29 to 50ish, 50, mid 50s, and you know that you want love, but you also know that, hey, I got some growth that I need to do. I got some things that I want to do, that I need to do emotionally. I'm not here to be your therapist. I'm here to be your coach and your mentor. If you know the story of Ruth and Boaz, everybody talks about Ruth, everybody talks about Boaz. Nobody talks about the person that helped them come together, Naomi. Everybody downplays it. Nobody talks too loud about that part because everybody just kind of want to go and do it the way that they gonna do it. But I'm telling you from a professional as well as personal, because I'm a wife. I don't just talk this life. I live this life. Okay, I ain't gonna tell you nothing that I didn't do first. And so I can tell you from that you need a Naomi, ladies, and gentlemen too. But I'm talking specifically to the ladies that I serve. You need a Naomi. I've written books. I've started, you know, schools on how to be relationship ready and all that stuff. But I can attest to you that if you don't have someone there holding your hand, I know you think you're too old for it, too grown for it. You're not. But if you don't have somebody there holding your hand, it's highly likely that you're going to slip back into the same patterns. Not because you want the same results, but because you just don't have anything else to lean on. So you're going to go, our human nature is to go back to what had worked previously or what we did previously, even if it didn't work. So, ladies, I invite you as a single woman who, if you're someone who you're trying to decide, you fall into that space and you're trying to decide, do I really want love or not? I don't know. Let me think about it. Then come see me. Come see me at souldetox.net and get started on your soul care journey. I call that whole relationship readiness, I call it soul care because you're hitting on multiple, especially in my program, you're hitting on multiple pieces of what it takes to enter a healthy relationship. We kind of touch on the mental health, but we don't stay there long because you do that in therapy. We touch on your story, we touch on your triggers, we touch on all of these different things, boundaries, forgiveness, all of this. And um, we come up with a strategy that's unique for you. Even though you're working in a group format, it's unique for you. And if you want to work one on one, that's available too. But we come up with a strategy that's unique for you to help you first decide, okay, do I really want to be involved with love or not? And then if you do, we're going to show you exactly how to do it. So go to souldetox.net, learn more about the program, learn more about me, and I would love to have you kick off your 2026 with us, with the cohort that is starting in January. So slots are limited. So if you do want to participate, don't wait, don't hesitate. Let's come on and participate. I will see you ladies at souldetox.net. All right. For everybody else, if you need references and resources on how to reach your relationship goals in the new year, I will gladly resource you. But for y'all single ladies, come holler at me. All right. Till next time. Bye.